everyone, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Dog Business. Now, this episode is going to be a little bit different for you because tomorrow an Earl Life event is happening, an in-person CBA Live 2026. So ahead of tomorrow, we wanted to bring together all of the best bits from some of the incredible speakers that we will be having speaking at the event. We hope you enjoy it. We know you enjoyed it when the first episodes came out. So I will leave you to our mashup of everybody here, and normal service will resume next week.
And I think that's such a great piece of advice, is to stop, reflect, look back at where you've come from, because I think we weren't great at doing that when we started this journey, and we've got better at it from like your advice as well. But I think that's great for anybody that's starting out on the growth journey of changing their business in some way. It's stopping and having those little milestone moments to just go, oh wow, like, okay, I'm not where I want to be just yet, but I've come really far on that journey already.
Yeah, or even if you're in utter like shit creek at the moment and you're hating every single part about it, you have the ability to be able to change it, but also you got here for all the right reasons, even if it feels like shit. Like there's going to be some
absolute
gold nuggets in there somewhere.
Yeah, and I think we have this imaginary, because of the way social media is run, is we see everyone's big wins thrown all over the place. No one talks about how great it is if you got up another day to do something hard, or you made a hard phone call, or you cut off communication and put some boundaries in place with someone in your life or business that isn't working, or you fired a team member. Like those are as big as we hit X amount of pounds in a month, like cool. But since that's not always repeatable the same way as the bad days are repeatable, if we don't measure what's in front of us, we don't actually know what's happening, and we just wait for the next high. And that's why a lot of entrepreneurs fail, because highs are a very dangerous place to be. It becomes addictive. It doesn't matter what the substance is. The response in our nervous system is the same way. And, we have these highs, and then no one talks about what the lows feel like. Riding those waves is I would say, even a bigger achievement than just measuring the wins, because you won't have another win if you don't know what to do in between them. So I think it's the unsexy part of learning what to measure and not being embarrassed. Was like, I can't believe this is an achievement that like I got out of bed and put my work costume on again, but it is. And we have to give ourselves that because no one else is going to.
Oh, do you remember that conversation you had with us when we launched the podcast and we were that excited about everything going really well? And you were like, right, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news here, but there is
terrible because you were so happy. I was like, okay, girls.
I don't want to burst your bubble.
Let's just take this moment, take a snapshot. Let's put it on the mantle. When you don't feel like this, that's not a bad thing. And this is not the only feeling. And it's frustrating because we want it all to be all those moments.
Yeah.
And everyone else looks like they only have those moments. So that's the hard part.
Yeah. And this is again, we've just done an episode on us kind of bearing all, really. And we wanted to do that for that exact reason, to say like, it's not all just, it's not great all the time.
It's not like rose-tinted glasses look at everything, is it?
It's more not great than it is great. But yeah, we all like to celebrate the wins.
Yeah.
So,
but the overall bit is great.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing to almost wrap it up in and going, within that nice little neat box with the pretty bow on top, you've got everything in there, like everything,
absolutely,
not just all the good stuff.
Yeah. Do you think it's possible to have an amazingly successful business and not do the growth with yourself, not go on that journey in a personal development sense?
I personally don't think so. And I know there are a lot of people who argue that point with me, but if you don't hit the lows, you can't go as high as you can go. So if you aren't willing, because we have the lessons to learn, and who we are is who we are in our business. We don't, many people try to have like a home persona and then a work persona. And even people in job roles struggle with this. So even more so when it's your own business. If you have closets that are closed because we're not willing to look at our idea of failure, our idea of success, how we show up, how we communicate, where our triggers and our frustrations are, then we're limited in the bandwidth that we have for success in our business. Something will happen and I won't feel it. So I have a lot of clients who are highly successful. Let's say have a great launch and they'll call me and they felt absolutely nothing and they're terrified by that. So we can't just assume that when the business does well, we're going to know what to do with it. A lot of people get imposter syndrome. We have fear of visibility. The container grows too much, new level, new devil. So it's like, this is more money than anyone in my family's ever had, or I now out earn my partner and now I've got to have hard conversations. We can't keep all the feathers in that pillow. So if we aren't ready for the personal growth of how do we face the ups and downs of what happens even in a wildly successful business, then A, we don't know what to do on the hard days. And B, we don't know how to hold the good days either, because this is a big stretch outside of us. We go to homostasis. We are wired for regular days. We're not wired for high and we're not wired for low. We get scared.
I have a belief around burnout. And a lot of people think they burn out because they're working too hard. And I disagree. I think that the reason that people burn out is because they're not spending enough time doing the stuff that they love doing.
Yeah.
And when you break it down like that and they go, well, what do you mean? You go, well, if you were spending more time with your family and that's something you're doing, it's not that you want to spend less time doing it. It's just you're not doing enough of it. And when we're living in our highest values, so value is something that's a priority to you. Every single one of us have got a completely unique set of values, as unique as the fingerprint on the end of our finger. And it's that hierarchy of those values which determine what's most important to you. So if you're someone that really values your family, for example, then you would typically identify as a mother, as your primary identity. Because we've all got multiple identities. If you're primary value is business, and you identify as a business owner over a mother, for example. It's not saying that you don't identify as a mother, but just it's your primary. And when people are living in their highest values, they're using language like I love to, I want to, I desire to. And as a result of that, they're inspired. One of the ways that I know whether people are living in their values or somebody else's values is because the language they're using. So if they're using language like I need to, I ought to, I should, I have to, it's an indication they're living someone else's values. Now, the challenge with that is you constantly need external motivation. Whereas when you're living in your own values, you're not requiring motivation because you've got inspiration. It's coming from within. If you break down the word inspiration, in spirit, what's another word for spirit? Energy. You're in your energy. It's like this torus field of energy. So you know days, I'm sure, where you're doing stuff that you love doing the stuff all day, you get to the end of the day and you've got more energy at the end of the day than you had at the start of the day, or at least the same energy. And it's that correction that we're just adjusting every now and then to make sure that we're doing more and more of what we love doing, and life can become a lot more fulfilling that way.
Well, this is so relevant to us at the moment with this business, because I think, like we were saying before we started this, that it's gone very big very quickly, and it's still on a very big growth period anyway, trajectory. But we are getting comments of, you're working too hard, you're doing too much, you're going to burn out, and it's because, and I know from my perspective, it was because I was in that phase when I was on my own and I had no clue and I was doing what I thought I could just do and I knew nothing different. And I did burn out, and I got to that point because I was doing the things I hated. Yeah. And now we're doing something we absolutely love. And we say it all the time, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like this mission that we've got to change this industry, to make it amazing again, and to bring everybody with us on this journey is so big that it never ever feels like work.
Yeah,
and we can just do it day in, day out, and never get sick of it.
And that's the North Star, right? Because I talk about having a mission in life that's the equivalent of trying to empty the sea with a spoon. It will just be so big you're never going to do it, and it sounds like that's what you're doing, and that energy exudes through you, and other people start noticing it and they get energized by it, and then all of a sudden there's people going, well, I want to be part of your world, I want to be part of your community, I want to know what you're doing because I want some of what you're drinking, and that's what creates that ripple effect.
It's quite helpful just to break it down into three very distinct little entities. Really. So the first one is to recognize there's a part of our brain that is our more defensive part of the brain, if you like. And I think it's a good idea to name that part of the brain. So mine's called Bob. And Bob wants to dive straight in, and Bob wants to tell me I'm not good enough, or put a rageful reply to somebody who's been rude on social media or whatever. And our Bob's, whatever name you want to give that part of the brain, that part of the brain is, there's a saying in human psychology that feelings are not facts. Bob works in feelings big time. I feel this and I must react. And it's very much our kind of monkey part of the brain, if you like. If you want to, the Chimp Paradox is a great book that looks at that part of the brain. And, but we have to recognize that we still need to be aware of Bob and treat Bob with some love, because Bob just wants to keep me safe. So I've had trauma when I was younger, and Bob has very much been born out of that trauma as well, and all the kind of life events we have, and Bob has often more of a negative bias, more of a pessimistic bias, but that's just because Bob wants to keep us safe. But this is a really good little thing to consider. Our feelings, our moods, our experiences, our trauma, Bob. It's not about dismissing these things. It's about us learning how we change our relationship with them. So I've learned to change my relationship with Bob. I've learned how to change my relationship with my trauma and this kind of thing. So we'll come back to Bob in a minute. The other thing is recognizing the role of our ego. And ego is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing having an ego. We've all got an ego. And our ego is more likely to have more of an optimistic outlook of stuff. And actually, I read something really interesting about imposter syndrome recently, really interesting. I can't remember the author, as a clinical psychologist, but about how, what a broad brush that term is, imposter syndrome, of course. It was very much coined specifically when it was first kind of brought up in the 70s about women in very high, powerful positions who still didn't feel good enough. I think this I'm looking at the psychology behind that. But more broadly, we use it as a kind of a broad way of saying, I've got imposter syndrome, which means I don't feel good enough and it's hard to turn up. But actually, there's some psychologists talking about the role of ego. And it's a really interesting thing, and it's a really humbling thing. And this is why we have to be quite vulnerable with ourselves. So when we... it's easy for us to think, I'm not going to put that article out because I don't feel good enough. But actually to recognize part of that is also our ego feeling, well, I am good enough and I want to be seen. And why aren't I being the one who gets invited to the conference? Why aren't I the one who has the book out and the TV show? And I think it was really interesting to understand that part of the thing that holds us back is also our ego wanting to push us forwards. But we don't like to acknowledge ego much, do we? Because we want to be humble and everything else rather than think of it. And especially if, if we put something out, say, put an article out, we've all been there. I was talking about this on something else recently. I do workshops. Many of them sell really well. I put one out, last year. It was like tumbleweed. I didn't get anybody, right? And I think that it happens to everybody. This is the point. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. And it's easy to hide behind imposter and thinking, it's not good. That's Bob, you see. Bob's jumping in now saying, you're not good enough. Why bother? Don't do it again. You made an idiot of yourself. But actually ego saying, but why aren't people coming? Because I'm bloody brilliant and I need to be. That's interesting. So we got Bob and we got the ego. And then let's say there's the three components. The third component is us. It's me, as Andy, and with my thinking brain, my prefrontal cortex, my ability to kind of take a breath and think, right, that was upsetting, but let me just take a breath. And I think it's important to understand these mechanics, because I think as an individual who doesn't, we just get lost in Bob, or we feel torn with the ego. And then if we're not careful, we end up putting up those barriers.
The thing for me is off-platform build an email list. So we are big into email, and there's a number of reasons why we're so big on it. You own it. You own the data. Like 4 or 5 weeks ago, Instagram and Facebook went down. Now, it was only for a short period of time, but what if that had been for days or weeks or longer, and your entire audience and all of your marketing equity is in there? You're done. You have to start again. What if you get hacked? Like this happened to a client last week, where he's built his whole audience on Facebook and Instagram. He's had his account hacked. He can't get it back. He's got to start again. So now you've gone from tens of thousands of followers and audience to nothing again. So I'm
That's painful.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah.
Oh.
Or like you could be on YouTube and you've got there's plenty of people with big audiences on YouTube that have said the wrong thing and get deplatformed and get cancelled and stuff like that. And, I think that you're at the behest of these social media companies then if you solely rely on your audience being there. So that's one of the strongest reasons to get it off platform onto email. And you might go, well, you might use an email like Go High Level or Keep or Active Campaign or something like that. What if they close down? Yeah. But what you should definitely do is back up your data every month and just go, oh, my database, back up, and it goes onto external storage or something like that. So you don't lose the data. That's the key thing. And so that's the number one reason I would say for being active and deliberate for getting people off platform onto your own platform. And secondly, email marketing done well outperforms social media and client acquisition massively.
Ooh.
Hugely.
It's a controversial subject though, isn't it? Because there are people that say it's done, it's had its day, email marketing. So you would obviously disagree with that.
100%. It's definitely not done. I've got lots of data to back it up. It's done if you're shit at it. If you just do what everyone else is doing, then anything's done. Like, I think that because we get so many emails every day, like if we had our phones and you have a look, like I've got a bit of OCD, so I don't like having loads of unread emails.
I get that.
But by the time I go back to my phone, I'll have another bunch that I need to deal with. And I think because people know that they get loads of shit, they just go, yeah, it doesn't work. And if you don't stand out,
you still have an email account.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's the same with all marketing. It's like, yeah, it doesn't work if you don't get attention. The number one rule in marketing is to get people's attention. And you do that by being specific, by crafting a good message. If you don't get anyone's attention, you're done. Like, it's over. And so it's the same with your email inbox. It's like, it's just another form of marketing. But you have to get people's attention. And you do that in a very specific way. Like we do a lot of email with our clients just because we have a way to get it to work so well. And it's just being different, and it's actually having like conversations like this over email rather than it just being crap and pitchy and all that sort of stuff. And it does perform better than social media and client acquisition. We recently ran a campaign for a client who has 880 something thousand followers on Instagram. So a really good audience. He's in the fitness space, and he had an email list of, I think it was 20,000, just under 20,000. So decent email list. We ran he was starting off a new app, and we worked with him on the launch of that app. And so we basically mirrored things through email and Instagram. He's great at creating content on Instagram and stuff like that anyway. Obviously, with that following, he's done something right. And we did just over 1,000 sales of the app at £29 a month. 87% of those sales came from email. 13% came from Instagram. And so you can just do a better job of client conversion over email. Because also on email, you can be much more specific. You can segment, you can talk to people individually. It's not like social media where it's there and then it's gone so quickly. So, in my opinion, like, build an audience and use social media to build your email list. And, like our email list for our agency now is, I think as of this morning, 509. So it's not massive. We only started it in January. And so, but the open rates are good. We get replies to every single email we send out. clients that we work with that have been emailing for years, we start emailing for their clients and they start getting replies that they never had before. So it's the way in which you do it, not the thing itself that doesn't work. And so to build an audience, to answer the question, I would definitely look to build an email list, and then you'd use social media and all this sort of stuff to drive people through some sort of lead magnet of some description to build that list. And then when you're building that list, just commit to being consistent, to send an email a week to begin with, maybe 2 a week, but be consistent.
Yeah. If you are that passionate about making things, air quote, affordable, and you want, do it for free then. Like, create the charity, just do it for free and don't ask for anything.
Yeah.
Because by making it affordable and asking for £15, £50, 20, whatever it is, what's the point? It's not benefiting anybody.
No.
So do it for free if it's that purposeful. I was like, oh, that stings, but it's true.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. Or do the best of both worlds. Create something that gets you the income you need, and then do some free stuff.
Exactly.
So that you can share it.
Focus on now, getting the business to a stage that you can then start delivering that further purpose. Like, you know, that's your purpose. So make that your drive to make your business more successful now. And eventually, once you've got that status, whatever status it is that you're going for, before you can set up a charity, then you can. And you can deliver your purpose more for free because you've got it all behind you.
Yeah. And this is a conversation I have had with some of our clients when they've come in and said, I'd love to set up like a dog rescue and I'd love to do this. And we're like, yeah, but until we've got the rest of it working really well and you can be looked after, like knowing that you can bring in the money you need and look after yourself, pay your bills, then we can look at doing that. And that is the driver. So exactly that, what you've just said, that can be the driver for creating the dog rescue.
That can fund it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you still need to know your numbers.
Yeah.
It all comes back to the same thing,
and
doesn't
it's
it?
like, because your energy, if you're not getting the money, you're not getting that energy to keep on putting your drive in. There's only so much time that you have in a day that before you know it, you're drained, you're burnt out because you're literally maximizing yourself out, not getting much reward, little reward for what it is that you're putting the effort in for. Then you won't have the energy to build this other thing because you're not.
Oh, I love that perspective. Do you know what? The term burnout gets thrown around so much. And I wonder if, because to be completely honest, I don't think I've ever thought about burnout in the way that it's just hit me from hearing you just say that. Of burnout is actually a state of you're not earning enough. It's not that you're doing too much, because if you were earning the money that you needed to, I don't know how you wouldn't feel burnt out because that stress and pressure isn't there.
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to, like the energy.
Yeah, it is. It's that whole energy bit.
Like when you know that you've got your shit together on your finances, and you know that you're getting rewarded for what it is that you're doing. Another thing is actually paying yourself as well. Like, you're doing all this hard work.
Because it goes into my personal bank account.
And just but like actually rewarding yourself for what it is that you're doing, making it worthwhile. And because if you don't, it's that energy of, it will drain your energy.
First of all, we're husband and wife. I think that's really important to share, because you'll probably feel sometimes our energy is really great and connected. Other times it's like, are you really saying that? So that might happen. But we set up a cleaning business like 6 years ago. We'd hit rock bottom. We got in a really shit place. We're not expert cleaners, or we weren't. We are now. And my daughter's got a cleaning business and she was doing really, really well. So we're like, there's something in this. You'd had a really bad accident. So we're like, let's run with it. So I went on YouTube and researched how to clean. I don't keep a clean home at home at all. So I researched how to clean. We put something together. We went to B&M, got some cloths, got our vacuum out, and just went off and started earning money. Then COVID hit. But for the cleaning industry, that was amazing because cleaners were needed during COVID. So we managed to grow and scale. As an ex-teacher as well, off the back of that, I've now started coaching and training cleaning business owners. So we've sort of expanded really quickly in the last 6 years. But what we found was really good, and we never even knew to start with, was we've both got really different strengths. Like Den's great at going out chatting and doing the sales. I'm really good at getting all the systems in place, the training for the staff, that sort of thing. So bringing it both together makes it really, really nice because we both do the things we like.
But we did realise that very quickly as well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know, Donna's a rubbish cleaner.
I'm not a rubbish cleaner. I'm just really, really thorough.
For all those people that you used to clean for.
I'm very thorough and maybe a little bit slower than other people.
Frustratingly slow.
So yeah, we just grew really quickly, and now we've got an amazing team, and our son's now working for us, and things are just moving on really nicely. And
I can't believe how quick it's going as well. It feels like we've gone from 0 to a million, not in sales, but you know, the business just going bang, 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 bang. And it's so exciting. Every day's really, really good fun.
So there's a lot in there that you've just said, like you've whistle-stop-toured through that 6-year journey, haven't you? So let's slow it down and go back to that beginning bit. So when you created that business and it kind of happened at the right time by the sounds of it with all the COVID stuff. What did it end up looking like with that business at that time before you started doing the coaching side? So how many people were working for you? Was it just you two when you started the coaching bit?
Very first job was me and Donna. And we drive past our very first end of tenancy clean quite regular. Okay. And we always think that's where our story started. But prior to that, it was like, it was just, the finances had gone, everything had gone. And we had to pick on something that was going to make money and make money quickly. Yeah, and so a real business edge come into it. And also there was a big secret in there. Donna's brilliant at business and she kept that so bloody quiet.
I didn't know.
You did. It was so good, mate, because all of a sudden she started, I've been in business for 30, 40 years in decorating the building world. Quite different to what we're doing now. And she'd say, why do we do this? How do we do that? What about this limit company? What about? And I was thinking, bloody hell, I didn't even thought of that. 40 years of being in business, I never thought about them angles. And suddenly this structure was just coming out and coming out. So it just made it brilliant to begin with. Yeah, so it was a big secret.
I think at the start, though, it was intentionally we were going to grow and scale as quick as we could. Because like we said, we wanted to create a business. We didn't want to go out doing the cleaning. That wasn't our joy. So we went out to start with doing the cleaning, learnt the trade, made sure we got training in place for staff. And then we just took on the first staff. I think it was in the first 6 months. And just kept scaling and scaling and scaling. Now
he's still with us.
The first person is still with us. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, and now we've got, I don't know the exact number, but we've probably got around about 25 staff at the moment, which is amazing. We've got a super, super team.
What is your process and how important is that mission and vision and values to maybe somebody hasn't even thought about it? Do you find that people come along and you might ask that question and they go like, what are you talking about? And is that where you start?
Yeah, well, we start, the way I deal with people right at the beginning, not necessarily at the beginning of the business, but the beginning when they meet me, I kind of liken it to, you've got a jigsaw and you've shook it up and all the pieces are everywhere, because 9 times out of 10 when people need what I'm offering, which is the clarity and the understanding, before we actually build anything visual, we need to spread out all these pieces, and your mission, your vision, your values and all that stuff, they're your corner pieces. So they are like, everything is built around them. I talk a lot in metaphors, I'm really sorry, but
I love the jigsaw analogy as well.
I was just thinking this is like, oh my God, Vicky talks to me about jigsaws all day long. I like a sat nav. That's my visual.
Oh, okay. I like that. Yeah.
I do like the jigsaw, but we're kind of blending the both now. So maybe it's a jigsaw of a sat nav.
I'm not sure how that would work.
But be a boring as fuck jigsaw.
Very boring jigsaw.
Anyway, sorry.
It could be. Whatever
we
floats your
digress.
boat.
Who knows? Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No,
but,
it's fine.
actually, no, you interrupted. I'm going to.
I did because I like the jigsaw analogy. So back to your jigsaw analogy.
Yeah. So I always say so a lot as well. Corner pieces are essentially what you build from, and values and things. They can just be such flippant things, and I've seen it done so many times. My random little hobby is finding big brand guidelines because they're all available online and like scrutinizing them, which sounds so nerdy. It is nerdy. It's fine. I'm going with it. But I look at things like they'll put just 5 words on a page. It's like authenticity. Does that grate on anyone? It's like when you just say the word authentic and it's like there's nothing authentic about it. You know, they just throw words at a page and they're like, these are the values we live by. And then they get forgotten. There's no reference to them. It doesn't sort of come through in how things are said. And this applies to massive brands sometimes. You know, you look at these words and think, they're not authentic. You know, the last 3 things I saw, they pretty much ran through AI. There's nothing authentic about that. So yeah, I try and really dig down and say like, not what do you want to say, but what do you want to instill in people? You know, if you are a caring brand, how can you show people that you care? Can you physically give them something? Can you, you know, in the onboarding process, is there some sort of a care package you can deliver? That's how you can embody those values. The mission as well. Why does your brand exist in the market? And this is a huge question because people go, well, because people, you know, it'd be say you're a dog walker and you're in a local area and there's no, you know, other local dog walkers within this proximity. They go, well, because I serve this area and I need to make money. And I'm like, yeah, but why might they not drive an hour down the road? Because there's probably someone else who does something amazing or shows up in a different way. Why would they not go there? So it's like thinking a little bit more about why you exist and then putting that out to people. So there might be a dog walker who, I don't know, sings while you walk the dog. And it can be such a tiny, tiny thing, but you could be then the singing dog walker. And people think, oh, I love that about them. They're singing, my dog's wagging its tail, you know. It's a little something different, but you can include that in your mission and your values. And, you know, you can build an entire brand around these things.